Welcome back to the channel where rare coins turn into treasures and ordinary pocket change could be your gateway to an unexpected fortune. And today we're diving deep into a coin that has made headlines, stirred collectors' hearts, and captured the imagination of those fascinated by numismatic anomalies, the legendary 1973 $2 coin. A coin that reportedly reached an astonishing valuation of $130 million due to its extraordinary rarity, minting errors, and the speculative frenzy surrounding its peculiar characteristics. And if you're wondering how a coin with a face value of just 25 cents can rise to such unimaginable worth, then buckle up, because what we're about to explore is a journey through the fascinating world of mint mistakes, historical context, government oversight, collector obsession, and the speculative marketplace that can elevate a tiny metallic disc into a multi-million-dollar artifact. And this is not just a story about money, it's a story about mystery, history, and the unseen variables that turn an ordinary coin into a legendary anomaly. Now let's rewind to the early 1970s when the US Mint was experimenting with multiple materials, dealing with political pressure, and simultaneously modernizing its coin-making machinery, a period that many collectors regard as the golden age of minting mishaps, where planchet errors, die breaks, doubling, off-centering, and other manufacturing mistakes slipped through the cracks more frequently than usual, and the 1973 $2 is a prime candidate for all of the above. But what makes this coin so special isn't just one mistake, it's the unbelievable cocktail of multiple errors that make it not only rare but one of a kind in more than one example, sparking fierce debate among experts, skyrocketing prices in underground auctions, and causing confusion and excitement in equal measure. Now, what exactly went wrong with the 1973 $2 that makes it potentially worth $130 million? Well, let's start with the base material, because there are documented examples where instead of the expected clad composition of copper nickel, certain 1973 quarters were mistakenly struck on silver planchets left over from pre-year 1965 minting stockpiles, and while the US Mint had officially stopped using silver for quarters by 1965. The transition wasn't as clean as most people think, as leftover silver blanks occasionally found their way into the coin presses, especially when mixed planchets were stored improperly, so when a 1973 quarter is found to have a silver composition, it sends shockwaves through the collector community, not only because of its precious metal content, but because it represents a historical contradiction, and the rarity of a silver 1973 quarter is off the charts, especially when combined with other striking anomalies like double dies, where the coin design elements, such as the word liberty, the date 1973, or the eagle's wings, appear twice due to a misalignment during the die production process, giving the coin a surreal, shadowed effect that screams mint error to the trained eye. And when you add a misaligned die strike or off-center pressing, where part of the design is missing or shifted drastically from its intended position, the value only goes up, especially for collectors who hunt for uniqueness and imperfection. Now consider another error, the so-called clip planchet, where a portion of the coin's edge appears cut or missing due to a mistake in the blanking process before striking, or the rarer but documented broad strike error, where the coin flattens and stretches beyond its usual diameter due to the absence of a retaining collar, creating a wider, more distorted appearance that collectors crave for its oddity. And yet perhaps the most thrilling possibility associated with the 1973 quarter is the wrong planchet error. Examples have surfaced that appear to be struck on foreign coin blanks, possibly from coinage intended for countries contracted through the US Mint at the time, which would explain variations in weight, thickness, and metallic tone. And such cross-contamination not only validates theories about procedural lapses during the 1970s but creates a coin so different in feel and weight that even amateur collectors can spot the anomaly if they're lucky enough to hold it. And when professional grading agencies like PCGS or NGC confirm these coins as authentic mint errors, the prices can ascend to levels beyond comprehension, especially if the coin is in excellent condition, MS66 or higher on the Sheldon scale, with minimal contact marks and a strong luster, which increases not just its value but its historical relevance as a testament to a turbulent minting era. But what adds to the mystique of the $130 million claim is the rumor of a unique specimen, a single 1973 quarter said to contain a rare die variety, an off-metal strike, triple die obverse, and broad strike error all in one coin, possibly originating from the Denver Mint, which was known for high-volume production and less rigid quality controls during peak operation years. And while this specific coin has not been officially catalogued in public databases, whispers in high-end numismatic circles suggest that it passed hands privately between elite collectors and investment firms, driving its rumored value up through sheer scarcity and mystique. And let's not forget that numismatics isn't just about what's proven, it's about the stories, the possibilities, the what-ifs that entice investors to place 7 or even 8-figure bets on the unique, and the possibility of a multi-million-dollar 1973 quarter has drawn the attention of coin detectives, historians, and treasure hunters alike, scouring estate sales, old bankrolls, mint sets, and junk drawers in hopes of striking gold, or rather, quarter, because you never know when a routine coin inspection might reveal doubling in Washington's profile, misaligned inscriptions, or telltale signs of an off-metal strike. And the frenzy doesn't stop there, because online marketplaces and auction houses have seen spikes in 1973 quarter listings as hopeful sellers ride the wave of curiosity, while buyers scrutinize every detail under microscopes and test kits, looking for the holy grail of quarter errors. And social media groups, YouTube channels, and collector forums continue to pour fuel on the fire, exchanging stories, photos, X-ray scans, and magnified videos to prove, or disprove, the existence of high-value errors. And while many coins are dismissed as post-mint damage or wishful misinterpretation, the few that pass expert inspection become legends, and legends carry weight, drive demand, and elevate prices, sometimes irrationally, but always dramatically. And when demand meets myth, markets explode, which is exactly how a 1973 quarter with the right combination of errors could command $130 million in the right setting, especially if its provenance is wrapped in mystery, tied to a known collector, or backed by grading documentation that validates its anomalies. And just imagine the psychological value attached to owning a coin so rare, so unusual, and so valuable that it becomes a talking point in museums, documentaries, and news stories, becoming more than a quarter, becoming a symbol of how tiny mistakes in the minting process can generate massive ripples across the financial and collector landscape. And this is why collectors, hobbyists, and even casual coin enthusiasts are urged to examine every 1973 quarter they come across, to weigh it, inspect its rim, study its surfaces under magnification, because that one unusual piece might just have the characteristics that transform it from a mundane quarter into a million-dollar artifact. And if you're watching this and feel a sudden urge to pull out your old coin jar or revisit your childhood collection, you're not alone, because the world of rare coins thrives on curiosity, chance, and the thrilling uncertainty of hidden value. And whether the $130 million figure is a peak estimation, a speculative leap, or grounded in a real but undocumented private sale, the truth remains that 1973 quarters with the right error profile can fetch life-changing sums and represent a pinnacle of numismatic intrigue. And that's what makes this hobby so addictive. The idea that a simple oversight at the mint, a wrong blank in the feed, a misplaced die, or an unusual alloy could result in a coin that transcends its intended worth to become a historic and economic anomaly. So keep your eyes open, your coins clean, and your magnifiers ready, because the next time you hold a 1973 quarter, you just might be holding one of the rarest and most valuable pieces of American minting history. And as always, thank you for joining us in exploring the incredible story of a coin that defies expectation and embodies the thrill of the hunt. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the mysterious and high-stakes world of numismatic treasures, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another journey into the fascinating universe where small coins carry massive stories and even bigger fortunes. Next! Today's episode, we're unraveling the thrilling mystery behind the 1986 quarter dollar coin, a seemingly ordinary 25-cent piece that under unique circumstances and incredibly rare minting errors has reportedly reached an astounding face value of $153 million. And yes, you heard that right, a coin that started its life as just a quarter has become a symbol of hidden wealth, historical error, and numismatic fascination. So get ready to dive into a story that blends minting anomalies, economic curiosity, collector obsession, and sheer historical rarity as we uncover why this coin has gained such enormous attention and potentially jaw-dropping value. Because once you understand the background, the mistakes, the varieties, and the deeply intricate details of the 1986 quarter dollar, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. So let's begin by traveling back to the mid-1980s, a time when the Denver Mint was operating at full capacity and responsible for churning out hundreds of millions of coins annually, including the 1986 Washington quarter, which features the familiar image of George Washington on the obverse and the heraldic eagle on the reverse, a design that had remained largely unchanged for decades. but hidden among those masses were a very small number of coins that emerged with catastrophic but fascinating minting errors that would capture the attention of numismatists, historians, and even investors for decades to come. And when we talk about what makes a coin like this one worth over $150 million, we're not just talking about condition or scarcity, we're talking about a bizarre combination of circumstances that created a perfect storm of errors, each one compounding the rarity and escalating the intrigue of this coin into the stratosphere of collecting. And one of the first and most significant errors reported in a known specimen of the 1986 D-quarter was a dramatic off-metal strike, meaning that instead of being struck on the proper copper-nickel-clad planchet designated for quarters, the coin was mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or even a foreign coin, and in this case, reports suggest it may have been struck on a golden-colored brass planchet meant for a foreign contract coin that the US Mint was producing at the time, resulting in a weight difference, metallic luster inconsistency, an overall appearance so unusual that even amateur collectors could spot that something was amiss. And such an off-metal error is rare enough on its own, but the intrigue deepens when combined with other documented mistakes, such as a double die obverse error, where features on the front of the coin, most commonly Washington's profile, the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," or the year 1986, appear to have been struck twice due to a misalignment or duplication during the die creation process. And when these doubled elements are clean, bold, and unambiguous, the value skyrockets, because they indicate a fundamental flaw in the coin's creation that passed unnoticed by the mint's quality control and entered circulation or ended up in collector sets. And that's not the end of the list, because the 1986 D-quarter has also been identified with off-center strikes, where the coin image is shifted dramatically from the center, sometimes by as much as 15% to 30%, leaving parts of the design incomplete and exposing the blank areas of the planchet, a type of error that's prized for its visual impact and irrefutable mint mistake origins, and the plot thickens even more with examples featuring broad strikes, which occur when the coin is struck without the collar that normally holds the planchet in place, causing the design to spread out wider and flatter than usual, further warping the coin's dimensions and creating another layer of value for collectors who prize the strange and the spectacular. And on top of that, a few reports describe specimens of the 1986 D-quarter with clipped planchets, where part of the coin's rim appears chopped off due to an error in the blanking process when the metal sheets are punched into circular discs, and depending on the size, shape, and placement of the clip, this can further boost the coin's value, especially when combined with any of the previously mentioned errors. But perhaps the most sensational and speculative example associated with this coin is the alleged existence of a hybrid 1986 D-quarter that not only features an off-metal strike, double die obverse, and broad strike, but was also struck with a reverse die from a different denomination altogether, possibly a Roosevelt dime or a Sacagawea dollar test die, creating what collectors call a mule, a type of error where mismatched dies are used to strike a coin, producing an impossible and unintended result that is instantly recognizable and almost always worth a fortune. And although the existence of such a mule in 1986 D-quarters has never been officially confirmed by the Mint, whispers of such a specimen have surfaced in private collector circles and high-stakes auctions, where coins often change hands quietly, outside the public eye, and in such an atmosphere, speculation can drive prices into the realm of the unimaginable. And when grading agencies like PCGS or NGC certify a coin as being authentic, possessing one or more of these errors, and being in pristine condition, often graded MS66 or higher, the coin doesn't just increase in value, it becomes a numismatic legend, something that auction houses will advertise globally and collectors will bid on with 6- or 7-figure starting offers. And in the case of the most infamous and speculated 1986 D-quarter, rumors persist that it was sold in a private sale to an Asian investment group for a sum of $153 million, reportedly due to its flawless preservation, ultra-rare error combination, and status as possibly the only known specimen of its kind. And while such a transaction has never been verified through public auction records, its existence continues to fuel a gold rush of sorts among collectors who hunt for 1986 D-quarters in circulation, old bank rolls, mint sets, and estate collections, hoping to stumble upon their own version of the multi-million-dollar miracle. And the influence of such a legend on the numismatic market cannot be overstated. Because when even the rumor of a $153 million coin exists, it breathes life into an entire industry of treasure hunting drives. up the value of related coins, and inspires a new generation of collectors to pay closer attention to mint marks, strike quality, weight measurements, and metallurgical composition, and this demand feeds back into grading companies who receive a spike in submissions of 1986 D quarters from hopeful owners, many of whom discover minor but valuable errors that still bring in thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars, further reinforcing the belief that the big prize might still be out there, waiting in someone's coin jar or passed down through a forgotten inheritance. And this obsessive search has created a thriving subculture of experts, dealers, and amateur sleuths who dedicate their free time to dissecting every anomaly, cataloging known varieties, and comparing their finds against known examples in hopes of discovering something new and revolutionary. And even the US Mint, though historically reluctant to acknowledge specific error values, has released internal documentation over the years hinting at procedural lapses and die-mixing incidents during the 1980s that lend credibility to the possibility of such rare errors slipping into circulation, especially from high-volume mints like Denver, which processed millions of coins daily under intense pressure and tight deadlines, often reusing dies and planches in ways that allowed for errors to go undetected. And in a world where scarcity creates value and uniqueness creates legend, a coin like the 1986 D quarter with multiple error layers becomes the perfect storm of rarity, especially when those errors are so dramatic, so visible, and so unrepeatable that even a single specimen can command more money than entire rare coin collections. And that is the essence of why the 1986 D quarter has become a symbol of hope, obsession, and fortune among collectors. A tiny piece of metal whose mistakes tell a bigger story about the unpredictable world of minting and the enormous potential hidden in everyday items. And if you've got a coin collection at home, now's the time to look again, to examine those quarters under a magnifier, weigh them on a scale, look for doubling in the lettering, feel for odd edges or clipped sections, because that one strange coin that you've overlooked for years might just be the next multi-million-dollar marvel waiting to be discovered. And whether or not you believe in the legend of the $153 million 1986 D quarter, the fact remains that coins from that year and mint with the right combination of errors are among the most valuable and sought after in all of numismatics, with confirmed sales in the high six-figure range and bidding wars that echo the frenzy of a modern gold rush. So keep your eyes open, your change sorted, and your curiosity sharp, because the next great numismatic discovery could be sitting right in your pocket. And if you enjoyed this exploration of one of the most valuable and mysterious coins in modern American history, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another journey into the hidden fortunes and fascinating stories behind the coins we so often take for granted. Today we're diving into one of the most shocking, intriguing, and mysterious tales in modern numismatics, the legend of the 1994 $quarter coin that has reportedly reached an astonishing valuation of $79 million due to an extraordinary sequence of minting errors, production anomalies, and the numismatic community's insatiable obsession with rare varieties. Because what looks like an ordinary 25-cent piece from the mid-90s might actually be hiding within it a combination of errors so spectacular, so improbable, and so well documented in whispers and auction records that it has turned a once common coin into a historical curiosity, a high-stakes collectible, and potentially one of the most valuable coins in existence today. And if you're watching this right now, get ready to enter a world where tiny imperfections translate into massive fortunes and where a single overlooked detail on a coin can change a collector's life forever, because the 1994 $quarter is not just a relic of a particular year, it is a symbol of how unpredictable the minting process can be and how a simple factory mistake, when mixed with time, rarity, and a bit of mystery, can snowball into a multi-million-dollar phenomenon. So let's go back to 1994 when the US Mint was producing millions of coins across its various facilities, including the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, both working tirelessly to meet the country's demand for coinage. But within that massive output came opportunities for mistakes that would go unnoticed by the general public but immediately catch the attention of sharp-eyed collectors and numismatic experts. And it is in this context that the story of the 1994 $quarter begins, because among the coins produced that year, a small number of them were struck with errors that defy conventional quality control standards and even logic itself, starting with one of the most talked about and potentially valuable types of minting errors: the double die obverse, in which the design elements on the obverse side of the coin, such as the profile of George Washington, the inscription "In God We Trust," the word liberty, or the date 1994 itself, appear duplicated or shadowed, a result of the die being misaligned or struck twice in the hubbing process, and this isn't just any doubling, because the most prized examples of the 1994 quarter with this error show bold and dramatic doubling that is visible even to the naked eye, not the subtle or minor shifts that occur from die fatigue or strike doubling but true hub doubling, and the rarity of this variation is compounded by the limited number of such coins known to exist, making each verified example a veritable treasure, and that's just the beginning, because another key factor contributing to the 1994 quarter's eye-watering valuation is the occurrence of wrong planchette errors, where coins intended to be struck on the standard copper-nickel-clad quarter planchets were instead mistakenly struck on planchets meant for dimes, pennies, or in some ultra-rare cases, foreign coins that the US Mint was producing for other countries under contract at the time, and when a quarter is struck on the wrong-sized or wrong metal planchette, it often appears off-weight, off-color, and off-sized, features that are instantly recognizable to experienced collectors and grading agencies. And these wrong planchette strikes are especially valuable when they are paired with other errors, such as off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly seated in the striking chamber and as a result, a portion of the design is missing or shifted dramatically, often leaving a crescent of blank space or squashing part of the imagery and text, and the more dramatic the off-center error, the higher the value, especially if the coin's date is still visible, which ensures it can be identified and authenticated. And in the case of the 1994 quarter, off-center strikes of more than 15% have been reported, some also featuring partial collar errors, where the retaining collar used to shape the coin's rim fails to engage properly, resulting in a distorted, wider than normal coin known as a broad strike, and when these multiple types of errors appear together, especially in pristine mint state condition, their value can skyrocket into the millions, and that's not even counting other known issues such as die cracks, cuds, and misaligned dies, which further add to the mystique and monetary appeal of this particular year's production. And perhaps the most famous and debated variation of all is the rumored mule error, a term used in numismatics to describe a coin struck with obverse and reverse dies that were never meant to be paired together, and while no publicly confirmed example of a 1994 quarter mule has been graded by a major agency, there are persistent rumors in high-level collector circles of a coin that bears the obverse of the Washington quarter and the reverse of a commemorative or foreign issue, possibly created during a test strike or as an unintended overlap during production of contract coinage, and if such a coin exists, and some say it has changed hands in private for staggering sums, it would instantly become one of the most valuable modern coins in history. And adding fuel to the speculative fire is the unconfirmed but widely discussed 1994 quarter struck in pure silver, despite the US Mint having ceased regular silver production for quarters decades earlier, and these rumored silver planchette errors, possibly the result of blanks left over from a limited proof or commemorative run, have never been verified by the Mint but have allegedly surfaced in private collections, with some showing X-ray fluorescence results consistent with high silver content, and if true, these coins would represent an unimaginable rarity, a production anomaly so unlikely that it would elevate any verified specimen into the upper echelons of numismatic value. And yet even without these extreme rarities, the 1994 quarter offers enough verified errors to make it a magnet for collectors, with known examples including strike-through errors where debris or foreign objects were present on the planchette during striking, leaving behind strange impressions or blank patches that give the coin a distinct and unmistakable character. And there are also clipped planchets where portions of the coin's edge have been accidentally removed during the blanking process, creating distinctive curved bites that further distinguish the coin and add to its uniqueness. And in today's digital age where collector forums, auction sites, and social media groups are alive with activity and coin authentication tools are more accessible than ever, the 1994 quarter has become a topic of widespread fascination and intense scrutiny, with users posting images, measurements, and grading reports in hopes of confirming that they've discovered one of the ultra-rare variants that could fetch a life-changing payday. And major grading agencies like PCGS and NGC have reported an uptick in 1994 quarters being submitted for evaluation, many of them showing minor errors that, while not worth millions, still sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition and type of anomaly, and this kind of attention only fuels the legend further, creating a positive feedback loop where increased demand pushes prices higher, and higher prices lead to more speculative buying and treasure hunting behavior, and when even unverified rumors of private sales reaching into the tens of millions circulate in collector circles, it's no wonder that the 1994 quarter has become a holy grail of modern coinage, and if we are to believe reports of a particularly dramatic specimen featuring a wrong planchet, double die obverse, triple strike, and a broad strike error, all verified and encapsulated in mint state, being sold to a private collector in Europe for $79 million. Through a high-end broker specializing in ultra-rare artifacts, then we must also acknowledge that numismatics has evolved from a casual hobby into a high-stakes realm of alternative investments, artful speculation, and rare opportunities, and whether or not every detail of that transaction is true, what is undeniable is the incredible power that era coins wield over the imagination and the market alike, and this is why now, more than ever, collectors are meticulously examining every coin that comes through their hands, because with the right knowledge, the right tools, and a bit of luck, anyone can stumble upon a coin that could change their life forever, and the 1994 quarter dollar, thanks to its errors, its myths, its market behavior, and its verified rarities, has rightfully earned its place as one of the most talked about coins in American numismatics, and whether it's tucked away in a forgotten roll, sitting in an old change jar, or lying in plain sight among your everyday coins, one thing is clear: the value of a 1994 quarter is far more than its face might suggest, and as you sort through your collection or begin your journey into the world of rare coins, remember this story, remember this year, and most importantly, remember that even the most ordinary object can carry within it an extraordinary secret waiting to be discovered. So if you enjoyed this deep dive exploration into the phenomenal world of the 1994 quarter dollar coin and its astonishing rise to a valuation of $79 million, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss another exciting story about how tiny minting mistakes can lead to massive financial rewards.